Call the board and just flag it there.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
What are we, September? Welcome to September meeting. Pretty standard agenda we always keep having here. We got the single-use plastic ordinance that we'll kind of spend a little more time talking about. And then do our normal projects, have a quick go through. I don't think we have any deep dives in any of them this month. And then it was brought up at last meeting, kind of under the community education topic, but the idea of having a community outreach / forward-looking objective setting, helping us plan what we should really be focusing on in the next year or more. So I was kind of interested in that idea, so I thought we'd spend a little time talking more about it. Normal social media post announcement from township and a couple things on local actions and state actions. So single-use plastic is the big news, of course. Congratulations to all on that pass. So I don't know. I was very confused. I don't know if you're, Rick, on the email distribution. I mean, I went to the August meeting, and my understanding, even in listening back to it, was that there was a second consideration that had to happen. So I was a little confused by the final consideration. That all being said, I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah, I don't know all the rules. I know I've heard of first consideration, and I guess it takes so many days before it actually goes through. But I don't know the rules on that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Maybe since it was
passed.
maybe since it was first consideration in June, maybe they, even though it's still called first consideration, it was already publicized. I don't know.
Yeah, I know they took that little bit of a break to figure out some of the cost of the bags and then the boxes and stuff like that, but I don't know if that plays into that waiting period. I don't know.
Well, anyway, they passed, so now I guess it's officially considered effective a month, 30 days from the passage, so I don't know, early October would be the effective date. And then I guess the timeline that was in the ordinance was 6 months until completely enforced. So you'll have to figure out all the dates and put them on the web.
Yeah.
So this little bullet here was from was some notes that Bill included in his email, one announcement. So his suggestions on having a mailing to retail establishments, the web page posted. We know we'll work on that. The announcement on the township main page. I guess we could ask Brandon to do something on that.
I think that was part of it. I think they did put it on the main.
Okay. And then I guess I don't know when actually that's a spring. Is there a fall newsletter? Did we already miss that? I guess so. September.
I thought I just recently saw an email about newsletter, but
Due tomorrow, right?
usually when
Yeah, that completely slipped my mind. We gotta try to remember the newsletters. It's the spring. It would come out like right at the time it's going into full enforcement. So a little late.
Yeah, I don't know the dates, but I don't see, I had an email about that, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I would definitely
There
think.
you go. Yeah, it says as of today, which As of today, Brandon has completed and posted the fall 2024 Township newsletter on our township website for everyone to see. And that date was Thursday, last Thursday. So the next one would be the spring.
So Nicholas in his email requested resources to share with him so that they can get businesses and get the word out. Try to bring up his email.
I mean, he talked about the graphics and stuff to post. Did you interpret that maybe to be a letter to businesses or something? What you were saying there?
Yeah, let me try to find it.
I'm not connected to the internet here.
It says, as we prepare for when enforcement begins, council is hoping to communicate to both residents and businesses as much as possible over the next few weeks. A set of helpful tips for businesses as well as nice graphics for businesses to display, as well as for us to share across social media would be most helpful. So I think we have at least drafts of some stuff.
And then from the slides, right? Yeah.
And
From the slides.
yeah, I think I know Maria drafted a sign for businesses, right?
Yeah.
I guess I could update the slides too and post just something else to link to on the website, I guess.
Yeah, and I know like White Marsh Township has a resources for businesses section on their webpage. You know, we could do something similar on ours, or just kind of steal theirs and edit and make it fit ours. But I guess they need that soon because they're going to try to get it out. Should be posted on our Facebook page too, but I don't think many people see that.
Yeah, it was a little, unfortunately, we didn't get the announcement of the final consideration on our Facebook either. And I did send that out just the day before, but I was a little frustrated to not get that on there. So what do you think is missing from Nick's list?
From the stuff that he needs.
Yeah.
I guess like, well, I'll take a look at White Marshes just to see what kind of resources they have for businesses. But I guess like signs for businesses to hang or display.
Well, Maria had created them, and I thought she even talked about updating them, although I haven't seen an email on it.
So are they supposed to be provided with an actual physical sign?
I don't think so.
Just give them, just put it on the website and then.
PDF or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the sign that they provided, I guess, to businesses. It just says, "Bring your bag, shop with reusable bags."
Oh, hi.
Hello. This is the Environmental Advisory Board?
Yeah. How was that?
How's it going?
Yes.
Doing?
Well,
John's my neighbor just up the street here,
Okay.
on Belbar Road. How's it going?
doing well. I didn't see that story.
Yeah, it just says, beginning October 11, 2023, White Marsh businesses will be prohibited from providing single-use plastic bags. So I guess they were putting these up at the township building or just public places and stuff like that, I guess, giving it to businesses.
I have gone, say I went into the Wawa that's on Germantown, and they were giving away like the fabric bags. They're just giving away to everybody.
Really? They're not charging?
I don't think they charged for it. I think they just gave it away.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing a sign though, so I don't know how long they've been doing it. They've been doing it a long time.
Sounds like almost a year.
Yeah, pretty much like it'll be seems like very close to a year before ours would go into effect. Yeah, I guess that's a concern too. It's just like these bigger businesses that are, like have locations in all areas where there are bag bans. They just get these.
Flooded the world with fabric bags.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey,
How's it going?
Yeah, I don't know if that's any better,
Hi, Bill.
but
What are the downsides to fabric bags?
I don't. Are they made with plastic? Do you think those bags?
They're like nylon or something. Yeah, polyester.
Yeah.
But
Not
people probably
considered-
don't just throw them away though.
Yeah. I guess it's more of a reusable bag, and it meets the
Yeah.
guidelines and whatever. But they're still handing them out as if they were single-use bags. At least in some locations, I guess.
Do you think people aren't using them as reusable, or
I would hope so.
Probably are. Probably are.
So signs to post in the township buildings and for stores, I mean, you think those are different?
I don't think maybe not. Like this looks like could apply to anywhere. Like you could put it in business. You could give this to businesses, just letting people know that the bags aren't going to be handed out anymore starting this date. And you can also put it in public spaces.
I'll update the slides, and so Maria's got the signs, and she has the one
I can,
version.
yeah, I can help and, help her and update that. But pretty much I think that the sign that White Marsh has, that's pretty effective. You don't want it to be too wordy, you don't want exact. Yeah.
Do we need anything different for, straws or utensils? I know those are different dates for those.
That's a good question.
Maybe we need a different one for restaurants or something like that?
Yeah, because we do have plenty of them in mall, so.
Mhm. I mean, I'd think, because the current one, I think, really focuses on bags. We might
Mhm.
want something that has
Yeah.
straws,
Yeah,
utensils.
I think we should be specific.
Anything else? So, on the website, you were going to be working on that. I'll look at it too and do feedback. But I mean, what you sent out was the 6 month ago version. So,
Yeah.
Do you want to take a first pass, or how do you want to work?
Yeah, I can. I'll edit it and just send it out again when it's ready for you guys to look over, I guess. I'm looking at White Marsh's webpage, and it's much simpler. Like, they don't have a timeline of what they did, and they just kind of have the presentation where they presented to the board of supervisors, the actual ordinance, and example signage for retail establishments to post, which is just that sheet.
A little bit of the timeline history, I think you actually might have been better on the web page, but I put in the charts too. So we're having a link to the charts. I mean, I don't think that type of information needs to be repeated again.
That's true. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll do that.
I think we're good on assignments. The only thought is Nick was asking for it in the next few weeks. So, I'm traveling next week, so it'll be a little difficult. But tried to do something this weekend.
Yeah, I'll see what Maria sent out, and if that still applies to what is still usable for what we're trying to do, we can send that to Nick or edit.
Yeah,
And
I
also-
mean, I guess we can start giving them. I don't have to wait till we have everything and give it to them. We can kind of give it to them as we are ready. Guess
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on plastics? Good news this month. So, good job. No, so energy transition plan. I have no work on it this month. I feel like I saw an email or something that came out on some other activity, different townships, but I can't remember what it is. So.
I started a conversation with West Norriton and Lower Providence want to create an ETP. So we had one kickoff meeting in July, and then they said they'd be pretty busy through August. So I'm about to schedule a follow-up with them in the next few weeks. Let's see where they are. They have some of their EAC members want to participate in pulling it together. So they're just going to look at our examples and copy and replicate.
I mean, it's been 3 years since we worked on ours last. Do you see them evolving significantly since then? I mean, there's a lot of work to come up
There
with that
hasn't-
basic template.
There hasn't been a lot of progress in terms of self-created, and I don't think there's been any contracted ones since Radnor. And so I'd say the examples that are out there are pretty stable. And even though they're stable, the townships that own them aren't necessarily real active in taking actions. So I think our plan had a little bit more meat in terms of asking for progress reports and every year. So I think we probably have a better plan that just won't sit on the shelf if it can be implemented that way.
We'll see what gets implemented. When it gets implemented. It's been 3 years.
What are they going to implement?
So we have a list of 4 different categories of actions, and we broke them down by first year 2 through 3, 5 to 10, and the 5 to 10 were kind of like blue sky. And so every year that they would review this, they would say, well, now let's figure out the actions for next year. So in a sense, you kind of refine it as you go, or you kind of improve it as you go. As
They
you
were
make-
like,
So procurement would be getting all the department heads in the township to start thinking about buying more efficient equipment, or starting to transition the vehicle fleet to electric where possible, or hybrid where possible. Start to think about what would it take to do solar on the property, and what do you have to do to get yourself ready for that. So those are kind of delineated actions, and the idea was in the plan that because the township has so many other things on its plate, there's really nobody going to be in charge of that execution. So that's why it suggested we have a project committee that would involve some staff and citizens, and they would meet somewhere, sometime, periodically, and then hopefully help keep the staff on target to say, well, what can you do to help get these actions executed?
Sorry, I'm late.
All right, so nothing else on energy transition plan? Maria's not here.
I'm
You're
here,
here.
but I don't.
Maria's not here.
Yeah, I'm just going to point to Bill again.
Oh.
I did with a chance finally to get up on the roof and measure. So we probably have about, I'll say, 10,000 to 13,000 square foot of, depending on how they laid the stuff out. But that would be, 13 would be the high end, 10,000 square feet would be the,
Minimum.
yeah, of space.
Any
And your
chance we could get
calculations
an
based on that?
aerial picture of it?
Yeah. I guess Google Map, I don't have a,
Yeah, they haven't updated the map. We don't know when Bing or Google will update their maps, so we can't really estimate the
I
array
did,
yet.
I guess probably maybe more like May. I think I did ask the police about a drone, but their drone was down. I don't know if it's, I'm assuming it's fixed. I mean, maybe I can ask if they can get a picture of
If
that.
they'd be willing to, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, I could ask them.
Give the township something to put up, you know, they need some new pictures.
Yeah, we probably could refresh a lot of that. I think once that website gets done, there's, you know, the old township buildings on there, a lot of pictures of the parks, you know, so we'll probably update some photos, I'm sure.
Anything else on?
So, yeah, so the last thing I'd done was they had created 3 workbooks that showed different interest rates. So the high end was like a 6.5% interest rate if you had to, you know, finance. Then I did a 50% where the township would put up 50%, which would be doable with the current reserve. So you currently have $800,000 in the reserve, so I suggested maybe 600,000. Put that up as a 50% down payment, and then your finance part is smaller, and hopefully that improves the payback enough that you can then justify, you know, using your reserve if you don't have any other capital needs during that period that you project that. And then I did a interest rate at like 3.5%, which would be equivalent to a municipal bond, but we lose the tax credit if we go too high in the municipal bond tax rate. So anyway, the ESCO, which township uses, is utility advisors, I think, or utility analysts in Mechanicsburg. And so they have a solar developer that they work with closely. So I've asked them to kind of review it periodically, and so I need to send them these three workbooks and say, what's your feedback on this? Because the other financing approach is called a PPA, and there the developer holds the ownership of the credits or the tax benefits, and then it gives the municipality a certain payback points. So like you could buy into it after so many years, and then you would gradually gain back full ownership of it. So there's all these different ways of figuring out what's the best way to finance something for a municipality. I'm not the best expert on that, but there's these workbooks hopefully give us a little ballpark as to what it might look like. And then you could use some of those points that the workbook kind of suggests and create a presentation to the officials, council, and say, hey, here's some possible ways that this would look financially. You know, here's 3 different ways of looking at it. And then a feasibility study would probably be the first step, would be to say, well, let's get a solar developer to create a picture of what this could look like, you know, and actually lay out what it would look like on the roof and come up with some financial projections. So Springfield Township just did a feasibility study, and I think they spent about $2,000 on it. And it may be that maybe they've been a discounted price because the solar developer actually lives in Springfield Township, so he may have been doing it pro bono in some ways. But we could get bids, and it gives it gives council a little better picture of what the actual financial benefits would be. So that would be probably a suggested first step, would be to create a presentation deck to council, take it to a workshop, ask for feedback and recommend a $2,500 feasibility study. And then, I don't know where $2,500 is under the threshold. Can you put that out as a service only agreement, or do you have to put that out for RFP?
No, I think so. I think that would be considered a professional service.
Yeah. So then, if we could engage this guy who did it for Springfield, the fact that he's already done it once, and he knows pretty quickly what he's doing, I don't think, hopefully he wouldn't charge us a lot more than what he did for Springfield. So anyway, that's kind of, I would think, the next steps.
So he's making this package, and then you'll take that package and bid it with
So
different-
then, yeah, okay, so then he takes the
suppliers.
feasibility study back to the township, and they say, yeah, we agree, we want to go to the next step. And then the next step would be put it out for RFP, put the whole system out for RFP. So the feasibility study kind of gives them a financial picture, and they say, and then the officials say, yeah, we think we should be able to do this financially. One of these scenarios should work for us. So let's go as far as getting an RFP so we could get actual bids. And then you see if that comes within your expectations, and then you say, let's go forward, or we need to wait because we aren't sure that financially fit what we expected.
Did you see the feasibility study? I'm just wondering what the scope was. I mean, it has to do with the roof, the structure. And
They did, he included that as a line item in the feasibility package. So the feasibility package actually says, here's what it would take to do all this. We recommend that you also put in this line item to have a roof inspection to make sure the weight is okay. And I think that was under $1,000. So you're right, so it's $2,500 for the feasibility study and then maybe $1,000 for the roof study or less. I can't remember all the details. But we actually have a copy of it. I thought I included it in one of my emails to you guys, but maybe not. I'll repeat it.
Is that a pretty thorough study? I mean, $1,000 from a professional just sounds like how detailed or how in-depth would that study get? Just sounds kind of.
He's been in the solar
Sounds what?
business for a
I know, yeah.
You think it sounds low?
I don't know. I'm just saying $1,000 for professional service for this.
That's very low.
I mean, that's fine. I just hope we get what
Yeah.
Potentially pay for
That's
it.
fair. I know the solar part of it is that he's been a solar developer for over 20 years, so he's done this enough that he knew what he was doing in terms of the layout, the design, the projections like that. So yeah, you're right. If you want to get your own bids for engineering roof inspection, that'd be fine, but that was, I think, his ballpark on what it would be for Springfield Township. But you're right. I may have misread the number, and I'll send it to you so you can see.
So last month we had talked about the school, the middle school, and what difficulties that they had and why they chose to not put solar back up on the new school. I went back through my notes and everything. I did have a conversation with Eunice about it. She didn't actually know the details. She didn't understand the details. She thought that basically the getting out of the agreement and moving the panels was not as easy as just there are contractual issues with moving them. So she just knew there were extra fees and that they were looking at, would it just be cheaper to break that contract with the penalty and put on new ones or not? So they looked at trying to transfer with the cost of that, but they were 10 years old already, trying to upgrade and do a new contract, but have the breaking a contract fee or just get rid of it because they were frustrated with it. So apparently they just got rid of it. I don't know how it all worked out, but she didn't, when I talked to her, she didn't really know the details. She was directing me to go back through the school board recorded meetings, and I didn't have any notes from going back through all the recorded meetings, but it was 2021 timeframe, if anybody wants to try to
Did
State
you
of
give
mind,
a month or like specific month details or?
I think
Can
I
we
talked
find
to
it
her, I
just-
think I had notes from September of 2021, so maybe it was May of 2021 or something. I have to
Okay.
look back and try to see when I talked to her. No real information there.
Is the school separate from anything we would do?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have any.
Mm.
Because there was that one thing that I saw in the newspaper I forwarded, that there's some $25 million state program for putting solar panels on schools. But that would be, we have no influence on that, or?
Yeah, I mean, no direct, I mean, we can certainly talk to them, but make a presentation to the school board.
Yeah, the details of that program are supposed to be kind of pinned down by November. I think I've heard there's some organization around Philly that's kind of helping to figure out how they're going to implement it. Because one of their incentives for the $25 million is to kind of go to the lower income schools or the schools that don't have as much resources. So how much they can give to each school, will depend maybe on some sort of tiered, fit, based on how rich they are, or maybe how poor they are.
Yeah, from what we calculated, 25 million isn't
Well, it's not
really
gonna
that
go
much
far.
money. Well, it wasn't ours, like 1.5 or something?
Yeah, because I mean, even for this roof, and the community center, I think we projected 1.4 million.
Yeah.
Anything else on rooftops? All right. Open space one, Andrew?
I don't have any updates this month.
I did run into El Miramontes on Saturday. They actually had a bike ride to celebrate the funds that they've gotten to complete the cross-county trail. So we were on the cross-county trail, rode into Conshohocken and back, about 30 of us. But so she gave me an update. I said, anything happen in open space since we saw you 2 years ago? She said, no, not really, but they are going to form a grant program so that communities can apply for money to preserve open space. So she said the details of that may, be published in the next month or so.
The county is.
The county will offer a grant program. She didn't say how much money it has in it, but that would be one way to help preserve properties.
And do the municipalities who apply for this grant have to have a open space fund? A separate open space
No,
fund?
I don't think so. I think this grant is equal for anybody who can qualify. I'm not sure what kind of criteria will be needed, but she's hopeful that it'll give other communities a chance to
Yeah, that's good.
preserve space.
Because one of the points that came up last month when we discussed this in more details was like by having an open space fund, are we eligible to apply for more grants? Like, does it open up more grant opportunities for us than if we didn't? Like, are there grants out there that only can be applied to it?
A real good question for her. I can't say I remember.
Yeah, I have to look into that more.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, you said they got money for the cross-county trail, did they get the Germantown Pike crossing?
Yeah, they've been kind of queued it all up. So they did the feasibility study that they've got a tentative line from Germantown into White Marsh, going behind the medical center into White Marsh Park property, open space property across the street from Brandywine Corporate Center to what used to be Brandywine. So it's going to go across the street right there where the driveway comes up on what's that road, Plymouth? No, that's Butler. Go across into the White Marsh open space, wind back through the woods or behind the woods, and then come down by the back of the corporate lot there where there's a couple businesses. Behind the medical center, down around the retention basin, and then they are going to be able to go through those woods there.
Right.
They're squeezed between the railroad tracks and the properties. They got Pico right away. So that was a good sign, and then it'll go up Flowertown. It's going to cross over about where the street light or the traffic light is for the high school. gonna go over the other side, and then go up that side, and then into the KYW property, and then link in with where they have the other trail. So when they did the feasibility study, that was one of the questions that came up, say, well, what's the plan for how this is gonna execute? Are you gonna be able to put anything on the ground before the bridge, or, you know? And they said, no, we're gonna wait, get the bridge and the ground all planned together, and then once we start, we can execute. So depending on which comes first, you know, whether they can put the piers in for the bridge and the ground, you know, it's about 2 miles over to White Marsh. So anyway, they got $140 million through federal traffic funds that DVRPC was able to, you know, get this section designated for trails.
Is that online where you can look at, is it online yet? We can look at?
Oh, yeah, the route is published on the county website now, and they actually did a drone flyover. So
Okay.
there's actually a drone, you know, kind of like over a map that kind of shows where the route would go.
So are there street crossings there, or are they making like,
So the only bridge crossing right now is the Germantown and Chemical. So on the Metroplex side,
okay,
you'll come down the trail, and then you'll go over the bridge up into the corporate property, and then wind up through that. And then there'll be a kind of a push button light maybe across Butler where it comes up to that intersection. And then when you go up to Flowertown, there's a big enough shoulder on the right side to stay on
right,
protected. And then when it hits the light up there at the high school, or they're going to put in a new light, maybe there's not one there, then it's going to give them a crosswalk to the other side of Flowertown, and then go Flowertown to the intersection with Joshua, and then they've already got the push button lights set up there, so it's just a matter of, you know, plugging them in and making that happen. So it should be.
It's not going to cost 140 million, though, is it? Just for this?
I can't. Well, okay, maybe I should save
That
that.
might be with the bridge and everything.
bridges are one thing, street crossings are
Yeah.
Yeah.
traffic light.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also our section from Plymouth to White Marsh is one piece of the whole cross-county trail. The other is the Fort Washington to Upper Dublin Pennypack Trail. So those are both going to be funded through this asset. So it's not just our trail.
Flowertown there's a quarry there that like comes right up to the road.
Yeah.
Well, I believe
one side, on the other
they
side.
thought there were some houses over there that
On the high school side.
Is it-
there is.
No, there's a couple of houses on the corner.
on the
There
quarry
is?
side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it narrow down as you get to Joshua, or how much? They believe there's enough room.
I'm sure there's enough room,
Yeah.
but there are houses, but not towards Joshua, down towards where the back, I guess, the back entrance to the high school. There's a couple houses across from there. I think it was Gill Quarries, I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If you look at the history of the Schuylkill River Trail, that is pretty cool all the way up to Pottstown. And then after Pottstown, it's a road, it's the trail, it's a parking lot, it's the road. And some of the roads are really tight, really,
Yeah.
really tight. And I know they're spending a lot of money, so hopefully this one will, you see like the bike lanes, like if you ride the new 202,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bike lane,
yeah, and you gotta cross over it sometimes to make a right.
oh, yeah, it's a bike lane this wide, I don't
A
know,
little tight, yeah. That's
60
a little
miles an
risky.
hour. The one,
Good, that's great though, making that trail out there.
we
That's great.
discussed the open space thing last week. The impression I got was there's no like list of identified open spaces that are desirable.
Well, there is a list, I don't know if I could share it, because it has.
You don't want it to get out in the public because
Yeah.
then other property real
People's
estate
private property.
investors will bid on it, you know.
And I did not ask Karen, she was on vacation, and I forgot to ask her whether or not, I don't know that they're gonna want that out there.
I know.
There's a list, and it also seemed like there was money.
Well, I think if those properties come up for sale, then I think the township's interested in buying them. And most of them, I'll say this, most of them, butt our current parks.
Yeah.
the two properties we bought on, recently on Germantown Pike were on that list. Down at JFK, that property was on that list. There was another property that was on the list, but we couldn't buy it because of a little bit of a conflict of interest on who owned it. Yeah.
When we were talking about this last week, or last month, the point came up like, you know, the township seems to have a pretty good record of when these properties come up for sale, buying them. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, is there a point to trying to establish this new fund? If the township seems to have the funds to buy
Yeah,
these.
it just didn't seem like.
So then we were seeing, I have to look this up, if there's a massive benefit to having a separate fund where we can apply for more grants or something like that, then maybe we consider it. And also what White Marsh is trying to do, I mentioned this last month, is use the open space funds. Already some of it is allotted to the maintenance of the natural lands, so just ecological
Restoration.
betterment, restoration, and also they're trying to use those funds to hire a land steward that would help orchestrate these projects in the natural land. So improving,
Cool.
not only restoring, buying the lands, but restoring them. And I don't know if that could be another plus or another benefit of having a separate fund in the township. But I guess we have to look more into the grants thing, because I think that probably speaks more.
That's a good point.
We'll skip over just that line on community education, but something that Maria had brought up was this idea of holding a town hall. I mean, I think she used the word town hall, but a meeting with the community where all these meetings are open. Community is always welcome, but really try to reach out. Especially some groups like Environmental Club have listed there. I don't know. I mean, the Scouts or something like that.
They're back, so I'll propose that. Yeah.
So I mean that was the idea. Trying to get more stakeholder feedback on kind of what we're working and also trying to improve our community relationship and so forth. And so I like the idea, so I just wanted to put it on here for a special topic for the evening, besides the fact that if we're really talking about planning for 2025, I mean, it's September now, this isn't probably going to happen next month, so it's already basically looking November, December before we'd hold anything, so I figured it was a good time to talk about it if we're going to do it. And what are people's thoughts?
So is this like an open meeting, or is it like a survey, or like what do you?
We had talked about it as a meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I was just kind of thinking about what if we just say our November meeting, maybe we meet here, a half hour before, but tell the public, tell those other groups or something, come at 7:30 or something. So we'd have a little time to talk, but basically dedicate our normal time to.
And the interest for someone coming to the meeting would be, I mean, I don't mean that. Just come to the meeting for this group. Would there be like specific, I'm just asking, like topics or something, or just, hey, I didn't know you realized there was like an environmental board for Plymouth. You're welcome to come and see what the heck's going on. And
Well, or is it to bring ideas for
So-
the next year?
I
Is that what
thought
the agenda is?
Maria had some ideas when she's bringing in these groups. She wanted to do these SWOT activities, like what are our strengths of the township? What do you think about, like what environmental concerns do you have? And can we think about like some strategies? How do you want to get involved and how do you want to tackle these challenges, right? Like that type of things. With the groups that we will be bringing in. That was her idea. So maybe we do that before our strategic planning meeting or the objective meetings. like we run our community outreach first, and then we take whatever we get from the outreach and then run the yeah, our meeting with that.
And the other thing to just think about is how do you get the information out to the public? It's kind of hard for all our residents to see things happening here unless they're watching the agendas every month.
Yeah, that's,
So you might think if it's worth it, just put it in the spring newsletter, invite everybody to an open house in May, and, do it at a half-year point.
do people know, like, they can come to this meeting if they want? Just,
I think in all the 13 years I was here, I think, Rick, we only had like two visitors walk in.
okay.
Yeah, you're right.
They had the town hall for the plastic ordinance, and a couple people showed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
5 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're having a.
So I didn't know this till I talked with Bill for my son's some assignment, right? Like he was supposed to interview somebody from township, and we picked up environmental board. So yeah, I mean, until I talked with Bill, I did not know that I can just come and attend, and yeah, so.
So if you wrote an article for the spring newsletter and just said, hey, here's the EAB, these are all the projects we worked on over the last years. We're inviting you to an open house. We'd love your input for our next, planning cycle. I mean, that would probably be a great, way to reach out.
Yeah.
Even some of the folks who showed up for the town hall, they didn't know what the board was or what we did. They were asking if we were paid, if this was a paid position.
We're paid, what do you call it, to get rid of plastic.
Yeah.
We can, maybe, I don't know, starting from next meeting, we can just say, bring a neighbor or bring a friend.
How did you find out about this?
I don't actually know. Probably from a while ago. I knew that this existed. I had no idea what this did either. So to answer all your questions, I didn't know what this was. Even when I came here, I didn't know what this was.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to expect when while the meeting was going on. Probably, if I had to guess, it was through a newsletter, through the township's newsletter, or through Plymouth Township Day. But it's been so long.
Yeah. I wonder what percentage of residents read the newsletter and.
I assume.
Yeah, probably very small.
Oh, yeah.
Did you come by the booth at Plymouth Township Day?
I probably did. Yeah. I can't tell you if I did or not, but I very likely did. It's something that I would do. If
I was there as one of.
This year or the prior year, do you think?
Don't put them on the spot.
It's all blending together, right?
Right, yeah. I know. So I've been to at least 2 years, and I've been to several of the booths that were of my interest. But I can't tell you which ones I did go to or not.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, it's sounding like we're probably thinking that doing something this year isn't.
I
The best
think
approach.
we can start with I can bring in for next month's meeting. Do you think we can get some scouts?
So next month's meeting, just say, we're gonna be in the small conference room,
Okay.
only because they switched the public meeting because there's the Memorial Golf outing is that Monday, so they made it Tuesday. So we're gonna get pushed into the small conference room. So I don't know if it's a good month to bring a bunch of scouts there, because that's it's not as big as this. I forget, maybe there's 10 seats around the table, but
That's good.
we won't be able to use this room our October meeting.
So how about November?
November's fine, yeah, just next month is, I mean, if there's only a few of them, 2 or 3, I think there's plenty of room, but if there's gonna be 10 or 12 scouts, I don't know that we're gonna have enough room in that. in that
Yeah,
room.
I'll check with them
Okay.
because they do have like bunch of citizenship requirements. They're working on some of the merit badges where they are required to attend such things, so I'll put that for.
Yeah.
Do your children have any contacts with the high school environmental club that they could invite?
Yeah, my son is taking AP Environmental Science, and the teacher, that's Andrew's teacher as well. So, yeah, so she runs that environmental club. So now I have her email address, and I'm in touch with her. So we can invite them.
You know, I think with any of these meetings, you want to invite the public. The first one may not be the standing room only, but if you get it started, you know, people go, hey, you know, it's with these guys, kind of interesting, see what they're going on. And you know what I mean? The next one, so I wouldn't expect, well, maybe not, the first one to be like. But you got to start somewhere. But I mean, public input, I mean, it's, you know, what we're doing is for the residents, really. I mean, good to hear it.
And then you get that experience, and then it gives you more things to put in the spring newsletter, and then you invite everybody for the Bay, and then you've already been through a few iterations with different, participants, and you now know what you want to do. Yeah, probably be a good step up.
So,
And we can also do the form the Google form, the interest form that we did in the beginning. We can do that with, whoever is coming to our meeting, right? Yeah.
I've never set it up, but I mean, you can do some sort of live polling.
Yeah,
what the
some-
website
yeah,
is and stuff.
yeah. We can do Google form, we can do, Google.
Yeah.
Physical forms.
But, so October we'll pass on this, but let's do
Another-
If there's-
November, invite a neighbor to the,
Yeah.
find some, I don't know, do you each want to try to think of somebody? And we'll just have, you're crossed up on this, yeah.
We're not inviting each other for sure.
Well, yeah, we'll just plan on having a large part of the meeting to discuss with the group, and we'll learn for better for next year. And,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we can talk more about specific items, but yeah, that sounds good. Be fun. A little different than the normal crew. John, you're the first guest in at least a year.
Okay. Thank you.
Bring a friend. All right. Anything else on this? Sounds good. All right. Social media, we didn't do anything in September here so far. So we missed for some reason we didn't have the final consideration posted. We should definitely put up on there, we haven't done it's been passed announcement.
Yeah, definitely. What do you guys think of if I ask Brandon to rename the Facebook page to Plymouth Township Environmental Advisory Board? Because right now it's Environmental Advisory Board - Plymouth Township.
Ooh.
I think having it up front
Yeah.
makes it a little.
More specific.
Yeah.
Easier to find or something.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know Facebook, but I have no objections to registering the name.
I try to share the posts on like Plymouth pages, Plymouth community pages, and they have like 5,000, 6,000 followers, and the posts like that I share get no views or likes or anything. hard to get people to respond or anything. Yeah.
There's a EV expo coming up at Ambler, I don't know, in a few weeks, and it might be worth, if you want, publicizing that, just to kind of tweak people's interest. I can send you info on that. Sold at the Weaver's Way, usually the parking lot out at Weaver's Way in Ambler. There are tons of people bring their EVs and talk to you about them, and some people who offer to give you rides in them. So it's a great way to learn about what's going on in the EV market.
Do they have anything on like chargers or anything like that?
Yeah, I can't recall exactly how I mean, yeah, they probably know enough to speak to it, but I don't remember if there was any charging.
It's all just individuals that.
It's pretty much vehicle owners, and there might be a couple advocacy groups, and they might know about charging and grants and things like that, or incentives from the IRA.
Yeah, there's a lot of money, right,
Yeah,
in Inflation
right.
Reduction
You can
Act
get $7,500 for a new EV.
for charging. And to,
Oh, for charging, I'm not sure.
charging infrastructure, I think, is a big part of that.
Also, yeah.
I would think that the township could probably get. Do they have any chargers or?
We don't. We have, we put the infrastructure, and when we did this building, there's a conduit that goes out to the first island there that was the intent, to put a couple chargers out there.
Who's White Tesla? Oh, Lee, how long have you had that?
Yeah, for a year. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. Wow, that's cool.
Did you do
No, why?
that?
Yeah. That was the cheapest last year, so whatever
Oh,
was it. Yeah.
Yeah, at one point they were playing with the prices of the 3 was more expensive than the Y, just because they were
Yeah.
doing the refresh.
Right.
Thought that one was up there.
That might be something that we could look into with this group, though, is to get money for a charging station
Yeah.
to like put it out here.
I mean, the nearest Tesla chargers are IKEA,
Yeah.
but they're not free, obviously.
And they're busy. I've gone through there a couple times, and it seems like they're all full
I've seen the same thing, Bill.
Sunday afternoon,
They're all full.
packed.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were under repair by a tech.
Do they give you like the first few hours free and then you pay, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it just depends like what offer you get,
okay.
what is going on.
Or they have like
during
specials
that.
and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But those are superchargers, right? They charge
Yeah.
real fast at the IKEA.
And what's fast? Like hour, half hour?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, depending on like, how low you are.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, from 10% to 90%, that's what they recommend. Like they ask you not to go above 90. So for that 80%, it's 20-25 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah.
And at your house, how long is that?
Or we just put it on charging overnight.
How many hours?
Have the level 2 charger like
No,
the. Okay,
it's
yeah.
regular.
Okay.
Yeah, I was recently looking at one, and that would be another cost. You have to add because if you just plug it into a regular outlet, it takes like
Yeah,
days.
days.
But yeah, you can get.
My neighbor has got a Y, and for some reason our garages are built such that you couldn't get the electric through. The panel is on the outside of the house somewhere, and you couldn't get the charger or installed in the garage. So he's doing a 110 from his front door outlet to his car.
Wow. Yeah.
But he's got
Just the
level 2
extension
at
cord.
work, so he doesn't
So,
need.
yeah, for level 2, you have to pull the wire. So we don't want to do that. So we're just like, that's fine. If we drive somewhere like far, and if we have to, then we just go and go to IKEA, get it charged, and yeah.
If you need a township permit to upgrade your thing,
I don't know.
Or should,
I bet you should
I
have.
bet you, hey,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
you need a permit to,
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
for
that's like,
type
that's
2,
like
you
a
do
60, or
50.
30, that's like a 30 amp breaker.
Yeah, so
So
we,
I bet you do.
if you get a new sump pump, you need a permit or inspector.
right. Yeah, so we are fine charging it over, yeah.
Hot tub.
I think anything electrical, like you're saying, 30 amp or more, you need somebody to come out to say, was it done correctly?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you need a 20 amp, but
Maybe, yeah.
if they run a new wire, I think.
Yeah, I think if they run a new wire, I think if they run a new wire, Fred, if you're redoing your kitchen, you got to have electrical permit, if you're putting, GFI outlets in, all that stuff.
Right.
We all did that.
Yeah, I think our
Next
board
subject,
is
next
the
subject.
basement.
Next subject, yeah. shh.
Our board is
Yeah.
the
Right.
basement in the corner, so we
My brother-in-law's coming over, we'll do everything.
have long wire for that.
There's plenty of places around, right, that you can go to if you need.
Yeah,
Rick, you're,
I guess I kind of gave all my announcements. I really don't have anything else. We're still, as far as this building goes, still working through the punch list. We have a meeting tomorrow that should kind of like outline what the what'll happen over the next month or so as far as getting them done and out of here. That's really it.
How'd the geothermal tweaking work out?
We're still going through that. There's still a few issues that they think that we've already had a compressor go on the chiller, which is kind of expected. I mean, we knew that the maintenance on that's going to be. Remember when they did those charts? Like that was the highest maintenance. So, but yeah, we had a compressor go, but it was under warranty, and they're just. They found an issue with when we had those really hot, like 95, 98 degree days and high humidity, 70% humidity, we were having trouble getting the humidity out of the building. So the engineer came in. Another issue we had was no one could remote into the building automation system. There was something with the firewall, so they had to physically come here, hook in, and it wasn't really conducive for them because they were working on other jobs and they would try to come here after. So the engineer came, plugged his laptop in, and they found that I guess they were reheating reheats the process of getting the humidity out of the air. They were reheating with the rooftop units, and they should have been reheating with the chiller. So I think they got that tweaked out, but of course, since that happened, we haven't had any.
Hot days to test it.
Nothing like that. Like, a normal, 80-something degree day with 60% humidity is not an issue. But so we're working through that. It's going to take a full year of the seasons to, we had like our cabinet heaters. It was like 90 degrees in that vestibule because they were coming on because the outside air temperature was, 55, but it was getting up to 80. Pretty quickly in the day. So just working through all that stuff is what we're doing now. So.
Hopefully you aren't too discouraged.
I mean, the discouraging part was that we couldn't get them to get on and look at stuff. We were like, with that whole system is, once you start changing set points and messing with stuff, and then you forget what you did, and now, we could change the set point on those cabinet heaters to 45 degrees, but then wintertime comes and a pipe freezes because they didn't come on, all that stuff. So that was the discouraging part, but I think we're past that now. They set up a virtual computer here that we can go into from remotely, so.
it's a lot smarter, you said the building automation system and everything, so I mean, I think that alone, you're gonna have a lot of issues or things to figure out.
Yeah, a lot of
It
tweaks.
doesn't really have so much to do with the fact that it's geothermal, right?
No, I think the thing with the geothermal is it's not the summertime. It's going to be in the wintertime because that chiller only could make 130-degree water. Like a boiler makes 160-degree water. So when we had, like, that would be, I would say, if there's a negative to the geothermal, it's going to be if we get, you know, like a long stint of, you know, teens or something like that. We might have a little bit of issues of heating the building to, but in this building, it's not that. The police always like it like 67 because they have all their gear on, so they don't want it real warm. So yeah, I don't think that, you know, other than that, I don't think I mean, I'm not discouraged by it. It's just the way it's designed.
Does it tell you what the groundwater temperature is? So in some sense, over the winter, hopefully you'll still be getting 50-degree.
Well, we never
coming.
we never got 50 degree. That was another. So I thought it was 55 degrees, and they said no. Like that water can get up to, like it was up into the high 70s.
Oh, wow.
During the summer, and they said that's okay. That's not. You know, as long as there's enough of a difference between that water and the hot, you know, water coming off the coils. Like, you know what I mean? I forget what the percentage has to be, but. Yeah, we never, like, I thought the same thing. I thought 55-degree, you know, water, but no. We weren't much below 70 all summer.
Well, is that partly the problem because you're pulling so much heat out of the building that you're pushing it down to the ground and there's not enough time for it to recool down because it's going to then stay at that hotter
They said
temperature the whole time?
the engineers said that's not that, like they weren't even concerned with that temperature. Like that's kind of normal to them.
So it'll be interesting what kind of temperature you're pulling up during the winter.
Right. And our wells, if you guys may or may not remember this, so when we dug the first well, the test well, we hit a artesian well. So we had a geyser for a week. So they decided not to go that deep. I guess that was at like 400 feet. So our wells are like just below or above 400 feet. So maybe that's part of it too, because they're not as
Not
deep.
as deep. They didn't get down to that lower.
But they compensated with putting extra wells in, so
You would
it
hope.
shouldn't be an
You
issue.
would hope they engineered it properly.
Yeah. But it's an interesting. It it looks like. The mechanical room down there looks like NASA with all, it's not just a boiler and a hot water heater and it's got a lot of components.
This is a geothermal
This building is.
Can you give us a tour?
Yeah, once they're out of there, I'll take you down there. They still got, like I said, the basement's a mess because everybody's storing all their stuff down until the elevator gets done. But yeah, I'll take you down one time.
You don't get any odor from the ground. You don't get any odor and anything from that. Yeah.
Nah,
Okay, good.
not yet.
A lot of places that do that, they rely more for heat, do get like a sulfur kind of. Yeah, sulfur kind of.
Yeah, we haven't had any of that.
Good. Yeah.
I think the Manor House, the Storehouse Church, Manor House also is on geothermal.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
The state level, regional, we got the EAC fall gathering coming up. I don't know, I haven't heard further if Maria is registered or not. Did you find out about
I did.
funding?
I did not.
And it's coming up here soon.
Karen was on, right after our last meeting, Karen was on vacation, so I had good intentions to ask her a bunch of questions and didn't. But I can find out tomorrow whether they'll reimburse her or at least part of it. She was asking whether or not, we went to that before, we didn't get reimbursed from the township, we just paid.
I never
Yeah.
thought about
Never asked.
applying.
Right, she was asking.
Bill, I think you sent out this PA Climate Network Guaranteed Energy Savings Agreements for local governments. I was kind of hoping this is tomorrow, right? I was hoping maybe Nick was here, I don't know who, or I don't know, I mean, if you would be interested in attending and you got the link to.
tomorrow. I have a bunch of stuff going on
And
tomorrow.
hopefully they'll record it, so maybe it's worth sharing the recording afterwards.
So, and the links there. So guaranteed energy savings, usually it's a contract they enter into and basically work it out that you continue to pay what you'd be paying for your utilities, and they kind of take on the risk of the energy savings that they're implementing won't end up providing them a benefit. They'll get more money from you than what you'll actually end up having to pay for the energy savings that they implement. I haven't heard it at the local government. I know the federal government has big programs like a bunch of military installations and everything. They have big contracts for these. I haven't heard it local.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that before. I don't know if it was another township did it or if it was brought up here, but I did hear about that. The problem is when you piss off all the employees because you got the air conditioner on 78 and they want it on 72. They're not calling that company, they're calling you.
You got this National Transportation Demand Management Week. I never heard of it, but just going through the DVRBC
National Transportation.
newsletter and saw that. So I guess part of that, I think, is just encouraging your public transportation and so forth usage during the week. I think it's probably a little more pertinent for those who are more urban. But yeah, think about that. You can check it out. I don't really know that there are other like events to participate in or anything, but. And then put on here is the Pico Green Region Grant. I don't know. Did you guys see you doing anything with them?
Last I heard, the community center was going to apply for. We still have a few places that don't have LED lights in there, and I think they were going to apply for the Pico Green Region to replace those last, several fixtures.
Could you, just check to confirm, because we don't want to miss anybody applying. I mean, if they did or did not apply, it would be good to know.
I think they did apply because I gave them the cost for the the upper parking lot, the community center that doesn't have LED yet, and there's a room in the community center that the active zone, which is like the like where they do the exercising and stuff like that, that doesn't have them. So I gave them, I'll ask, I gave them all the numbers. I didn't hear anything back from them, so I assume they did. What's the, is it like November for that?
October 24th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll find out, but I think they did.
And is there a way the EAB could get in the queue? Because I know the Parks group has taken a lot of these grants. I think we've only had a shot at it once, so we're kind of due. Could we put our names in the queue so that maybe next time it rolls, we could be the ones to apply?
Yeah.
What kind of thing would you?
Well, one of the ideas I had was the transportation feasibility study to start working on the bicycle or walking trail plan. Or maybe start with the community center to Plymouth East Valley Park, and maybe if money is enough, you get $20,000. Bob Thomas did the feasibility study for the bicycle trail for White Marsh to Plymouth for us over 18 months for $20,000. So I think you could get a good section of the walkable Plymouth trail system, kind of spec'd out. Just to make sure you've got right of ways, and maybe it's not a feasibility study because you already have a dotted line on the map, which was the feasibility study that Karen Frank worked with that group, that consultancy group. So in a sense, you already have a feasibility study. So maybe it's now like taking a look at the design level and seeing which sections do you want to start with, maybe to the community center, to the mall, or Eastville Plymouth Valley Park, you know, kind of connect those sections, you know, start somewhere. Keep it in the forefront of the minds of the people that are redoing the Plymouth Mall area, you know, and make sure they leave you an easement around the outside, you know, to make sure it's still there. So maybe just have visibility of this plan brought to more attention to kind of keep it in people's front minds.
So Bill was sending out a bunch of emails and announcements. Congratulations to the Sierra Club Ready for 100 initiative, which we are part of. But 50% of Montgomery Township now, or Montgomery County, sorry, covered by pledges for that. So.
Now it's just a question: are we going to be able to find the right actions? And townships still have to struggle with how do you prioritize these things and how do you find money to do them. So you got all these aspirational goals. So now how do we actually get things to start happening? And that's the challenge. I don't know what to do next. I mean, everybody kind of puts this resolution up there saying, yeah, we're going to get there to clean electricity. So how do we measure progress? How do we incentivize municipalities to take steps?
What
I
is
could use you guys-
ready for
I could use you guys' ideas. So the idea is the resolution says the township is going to transition to clean, renewable electricity by 2035. So you want to get all of your municipal operations on clean sources of electricity, and you either buy it or you install it. Mm-hmm. So we put enough solar in township, and then we buy the rest. And then transportation and heat by 2050. So that would mean transition your fleet to electric by 2050 and transition your heating infrastructure. So unfortunately now we have geothermal. That's one less thing that we would have to transition. So we already made big progress on that. So now we're electrified at the township building. So now the heat will all inherit the clean electricity that you get to by 2035. So if we can put enough solar up to offset the township usage, we could get fairly quickly get to that goal, because you still have the 30% federal credit until 2032. So that means we've got 7 years to pick off different solar installations and find ways we could start to build that, percentage of the electricity use powered by ourselves.
Rick, do we have any data centers in the township? Like large data centers?
Not that I know of. I mean, you mean for us ourselves? We just have...
Or a business, no, a business that is a data collection center.
So I think they moved now, but the name just went out of my head. Right over off of Walton Road, there was that company, as soon as you went in that, was it Fountain Drive off of Walton Road?
Okay.
On the right-hand side there, they had a huge data center, but I think they moved out. I don't think they're in that building anymore. I can't remember the name of the company.
I'm just thinking when you move to these solar projects, these things just eat. I mean, studies say 2030, 10% of all electricity will be data centers. Amazing.
And they're already struggling with the
IMS, sorry.
IMS had a data center.
Yeah, huge data center, but I believe they moved out of that building since, I'll say COVID, but I don't know if it could have been before that.
So yeah, we're kind of like in a rock and a hard place, because we hear we're making good progress on solar and wind in the United States, and different states are doing it better than Pennsylvania. But at the same time, these data centers are coming online faster, and the Bitcoin mining has been coming on faster than
Artificial.
the production of solar and wind in the United States. So now different PGM is forced to look at, bringing coal generators back online or not retiring them as quickly. And they just had an auction this summer where PGM's capacity market prices have gone up like astronomical. And so they don't know what that'll mean to the retail market, for us consumers quite yet, but it's like it just went bonkers because they had already been retiring some, coal plants in the PGM market, but now the demand has kept going and they hadn't allowed enough solar installation and wind installation. So there's this thing called the PGM interconnection queue. And when you have a project and you have this much solar or this much wind, you got to get in the queue. And part of it is that PGM has to analyze this. Do we have enough capacity, or the transmission or the the transformers in that area where they want to install this going to supply the capacity? And then how do we upgrade them? So they got this big queue thing, and because they didn't really have a good process for working through it, it kind of backed up, and now it was up to 3 years backlog. And I think it's improved, but at the same time, because they haven't been able to bring those solar projects on as they had planned over the last couple of years, now because of the increased demand, they're getting hit with these extra costs that they have to project out into future years, and that could then hit the retail market. We may get higher bills.
You see in the news they're bringing 3 nuclear power plants back in California. They just extended the St. Louis Obispo plant for a number of years. They were going to shut that down, but they just can't. And they're bringing 3 Mile Island back too. They're looking at that pretty hard, just for capacity.
I'm sure.
That and a plant in Michigan, Palisades, and Duane Arnold in Nebraska. So, it just kind of shows like where maybe things are going. That these things were done and shut down, and now they're seriously looking at the amount of money it would take to bring them back.
And I guess that's the cleanest energy too, right? Just the danger.
When I'm dead, it may be the only energy in the world that's like environmentally insensitive.
Yeah.
0 degrees, 120 degrees, winds, tornadoes, Russian missiles, you name it, they'll be there. Yeah.
So, we are a ready for 100, pledged township. That was passed back in 2018, it was the year. And the energy transition plan that we have on our list was actually stated in that pledge to do within a year of having passed it. Obviously, it's 6 years later, and we're still working on it. But so we're part of that 50% here in the township.
Great.
Pledged to it. For the Whitpain Community Festival, I don't know if Maria was thinking about
I think
that.
she had to drop out. She said that she had a conflict, so I'm just going to do Ready for 100 Montco, and then I'm volunteering with a group called Community, what's it called? I can't remember. Community Advocates for Clean Energy of Greater Philadelphia, and it's a bunch of us volunteers that are trying to help promote the federal monies that are available for individual incentives for clean energy investment, as well as grants and things for groups. So
It's the
solar, battery storage, EVs, and then nonprofits can do solar for 30% in communities now. So we're just trying to get the word out. So that's what Community Choice, our community advocates are, volunteer group.
We wanted to check something with Bill, right? Like, did he register our township for the sustainable municipalities or something, right? Sustainability.
What was that? What's it called? sustainable communities.
Sustainable.
Oh, there was a Sustainable Communities
Communities,
certification.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did it a while ago. I thought we got a Sustainable Community, I'm not
It's,
sure.
if you go on
Sounds
the
familiar.
website, we are considered a registered township, but
We don't
think
have.
there's anything that's been put on there as far as actions or anything in
Huh.
6
I
years or
thought,
so.
I wonder why we didn't publicize that. Do you remember doing it? I remember
It
doing
definitely
it.
sounds familiar, yes.
I think we gave it to Karen and she got it filled out and.
Yeah.
We got the basic,
As
I
a matter
thought
of
we got
fact,
the
yeah.
basic
Didn't have to
level.
go to each department head, yeah, I do remember that,
I'm pretty
yes.
sure we got the basic.
Yes, I do remember.
So we should put that on our website if we still have it. Or we still qualify. I don't know if you have to recertify every so often.
I mean, I don't know, it's, like I said, it's
I
on the
can-
website.
I
You're
can
listed.
send you the information. I can look at that and send you the information. But I think we do have some of the programs that might qualify us to the next level, like the silver, if not gold or platinum. But yeah, I think they have certain levels.
Yeah, I think we got the basic level, if I remember.
Yeah, so we can take a look at that, and if we have to fill the new information, we can
That'd
probably.
be great.
And then, so Bill, maybe it was back in June, sent out that there was this letter going around, some boroughs, I guess, were signing a letter asking that, support for this community choice aggregation. So that would be, the community choice aggregation is the idea of if you can't do rooftop solar or something at your house, that you can work as a group to have built or, go into a built, solar farm and get your electricity from there. And it actually has to be passed at the state level, set up at the state level to allow it. So that's, the letter is basically reaching out to the state level asking for support to pass that. But
There's a little bit fine tuning to that. This is a program that we're starting with boroughs because boroughs already have the ability to purchase electricity for their own constituents. Lansdale is one example, Quakertown. So we all know that we can all go out to PA Power Switch and or get our own supplier. What this will give a borough council the ability to do is to hire someone to actually focus on getting the best electricity rate with renewable energy. So rather than having every constituent go out and do it, the borough buys it for all of its constituents. And therefore, they just get the best option. So the goal of this group, or the person that you hire from the borough side, would be to beat PECO's rate and offer a percentage of renewable in what their constituents in the borough get. So the individuals won't have to go out to PA Power Switch anymore. They'll just inherit this new purchase program, and the administrator believes they can beat the PECO price to compare. So it's a win-win for the boroughs because they're going to start getting a higher and higher percentage of renewable electricity. So that's already in state code, so boroughs can already do this. The question is whether this new way of purchasing electricity is going to be allowed by the PUC. We believe legally that there's authority to do it, but we have to go through the steps to make sure the PUC agrees. And so they're currently going back and forth with the PUC on those steps. We believe that there's a good argument for it, for the PUC allowing it. And then once that's set up, then boroughs can then go out here and start purchasing this electricity and hopefully start increasing the renewable rate. So ready for 100 boroughs like Narberth, Media, Swarthmore, I should say, Swarthmore, maybe Media. You've got the list there, Hatboro. They believe that's the best option for them because to get all of their constituents on clean electricity by 2035 is a pretty major push. So if we can do this for boroughs, then the point will be to the PUC, well, now why can't townships do it? Just because it's not written in the code regulations, do we have a path to bring it up for townships? Or maybe we have to go to legislature to get it authorized for townships. But this letter of support, all we were asking townships to do was to say, hey, we concur with this principle that we agree that boroughs should have this right to do this. And then because we're also interested in getting clean energy for us, we'd like to be the next in line if it ever gets to the state level to authorize. So the letter of support is good to ask the EAB to agree to motion forward to council to say, hey, council, would you sign this letter of support? So if you guys all agree, motion it forward to ask the council to sign the letter of support.
So, I mean, the original ask was for like a July response. I mean, that's well past. What's the status of this letter? Or
So
is it still a value to try to get council to do that?
And I think it's still a value because it educates everybody as to this new principle and this new pathway to get to renewable electricity. So in a sense, because we've had this conversation, there's probably a lot more explanation that needs to help, ensure everybody understands it. But to get it to that level of discussion, now you start thinking, oh yeah, we do have a way towards renewable electricity, clean electricity by 2035. Yes, we as a Ready for 100 township, now the council can have a little bit more, confidence to say, hey, why not us? Why is it just boroughs? And then maybe all our Ready for 100 townships can then band together and go to the state and say, hey, why leave us behind? Let's get this for us. Because we already see it working for boroughs. So it's still good to ask the township to consider this.
Is there a letter, I mean, that's really
So
going?
there was a canned letter in the original communication. So if you guys all agreed that you wanted to review the letter and then say, yeah, we agree that we'd like to have this with the council and ask them to sign it, it wouldn't hurt. It's kind of like a resolution. There's no commitment or legal obligation just because you put your signature on it. It's not like saying you're obligated to do anything. You're just doing it for the support that it gives boroughs.
What do you guys think? This was actually the item that I said I was thinking we might actually have a very rare vote. Like, to put something in front of council like this, so we'd have to come up with a letter or presentation to council and.
So I guess I'm not, it sounded like a fairly long and complicated explanation of when it was. So
Well,
I'm not really,
Yeah,
is there like a written
I'm probably not-
description or something that we could?
Cliff Notes version.
I'm probably not the best communicator in that sense too, because I'm trying to think, what are the highlights? How would you condense this into a very nice, concise slide to say, boroughs are going to purchase electricity for all the constituents, and the purchasing
I was thinking more like,
administrator is going to start upping the renewable energy percentage in order to help the constituents all get to renewable electricity eventually.
so I was thinking more like, is there a description of what the request is and what, like written, Is there anything
Yeah,
like that?
there's a Word document letter of support, and the cover letter just says, council, EACs and council, would you consider signing this letter of support? So I could forward that to you guys, and then you could review it and say, yeah, we like this, or we want to tweak it. Because it may say,
It also describes what we're supporting.
and then it should describe it, not as well as I, better than I hope.
I think I got the gist though.
You got the gist?
I got the gist of it too,
It's,
but
Universal healthcare, but for electricity.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way of thinking of it. Clean electricity for all. Clean electricity for all.
But
Not like
universal,
Medicare for all.
universal healthcare, it's not like the government is paying for it.
For the borough. Or the borough and its residents, right?
Yeah. And the reason why the administrator believes he can do this is that PICO has a certain level of overhead that they've got to incur in their cost
Yeah.
when they get electricity for everybody. So if the borough can be a little more efficient, because now we're getting, multiple boroughs came together, so we've got, 6, 7 boroughs that all want to do this. So now you put all of their accounts in a pool, and you believe that you can buy a bigger purchase block of electricity on the PGM market, and with that bigger block, you can get a better cost than what
You could do
PICO does.
individually.
Yeah, that's the idea.
It's almost 9 o'clock.
You're rounding up a little bit there.
Yeah, but
Don't invite me to your meetings anymore.
I think
you weren't invited to this one?
We'll call you if we need you.
I mean, I would suggest distribute the letter
I
and
could send-
what it's requesting
I
and
could send
review
you-
it and
I
then
could send
comment
you-
on.
All right.
Email around, yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's all I had, so there you go.
yeah.
Stay in your seats. No, I don't know. Anything else?
We have some tree planting events coming up in Plymouth. We're working on October 3rd, planting some trees at JFK Park. Continuing that stretch there, Rick. Not in the swale though. And then Storehouse Church,
October 12th.
October 12th.
How many trees are you planting there?
At which
Or else for the 12?
9.
I'm not sure.
9?
9, right?
9? Something like that, yeah, 9 or 10. And then, let's see, we're planning at the Plymouth Swim Club again this fall, just a couple of trees. And later in November, we're planting Caldwell Park and Bicentennial Park with the bare root trees. I think that's pretty much it. There's another project that's on hold for the moment, but we'll probably, hopefully sort that out and be able to plant there later this year or next spring.
Thank you. Anyone else?
This is more interesting than I thought.
Yeah, so I was going to open it up to you, yes. I don't know. Any comments or thoughts? Or,
That's
what brought you in?
Questions?
What was this, made you decide to come tonight?
I don't actually know. I knew that he was in it, and I thought like one night I decided to ask him to let me know that if when this starts up again. So that was it. Nothing particular, I think. Just interests.
Yeah, just an interested resident.
Good.
I wish more
Glad to hear it.
residents were interested.
Yeah.
Cool. Like the Facebook page. It'll be number 1.
Yeah.
I am. But I was also confused by the name at one point. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When
I
it's,
gotta change that.
yeah.
Yeah. I was
When
confused
I'm-
too. I spent like 20 minutes searching for the page the first time, and then realized it's Environmental Advisory Board - Plymouth.
Yeah, I think as a regular person, if I were to search for something for the township, I would type Plymouth.
Start with that, yeah.
Type Plymouth Township or Plymouth meeting.
Right.
That sounds good. Good change. All right.
Thank you all.
You're welcome back. All meetings are open.
Go ahead. I thought,
Motion to close.
that's what I thought you were going to do it without saying that. Go ahead.
Motion to close?
Second.
All right.
It's all-